Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. I call to order the meeting of the Manassas Park governing body for Tuesday, June 25th, 2024. First, we have approval of an amended agenda. We have the addition of 5A, which is a public hearing on enterprise fee correction. We then have 8A, which is a vote on the 5A fee correction. Are there any other changes to the agenda? Okay, my understanding is we have no closed session. So do we have a motion to approve the amended agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Thank you. Please join us for a moment of silence. And Councilmember Javed, would you please lead the pledge?
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, on to general public comment time. There will be several opportunities for the public to speak this evening. There are the two general public comment times, and then we have two public hearings coming up. So is there anyone who is signed up for general public comment time, or are the folks signed up to speak, are you for a particular public hearing? Public hearing, general or public hearing? Public hearing, okay. Mr. Smith?
I guess let's do the
I'm sorry.
the hearing.
Public hearing, okay, thank you. Okay, does anyone wish to speak who is not signed up for general public comment time? Seeing no one and hearing no one, we will move on to the first public hearing. Our first public hearing is regarding an FY 2025 enterprise fee correction. I declare the public hearing open.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of everybody. Once, sort of the normal process for the budget. Can you put the slide? Okay, thank you. So part of the normal process for the budget approval is once the GB approves the fiscal year budget, staff go back and kind of clean out the Appendix C as well as the final budget report and upload them to the website. And in the process of doing this, we identified a typo in one of the line item in the enterprise fees. This is the table that you can find in the budget book towards the back on the second page. And because it deals with the budget, staff wanted to be transparent and bring this back to kind of share with the public what the typo was. And if you can see this first line, essentially with the 3% water sewer rate increase, it increases the UOSA fee from $48.33 to $49.78. That's a 3% increase. Part of the application fee, and I know it's listed application fee, but it's usually a combination of two things, is the new connect fee, which is a fixed $30, plus the UOSA fee you see above. So if you take 48.33 plus 30, you get 78.33. And so with the 3% increase, it should have been changed accordingly to 79.78, but we kind of missed that part. So that was the typo that we want to kind of go back and fix.
Okay, thank you. Are there any governing body comments or questions? Comments or questions? Okay.
Thank you for
Is
that.
there any comment from the public on this particular public hearing? Okay, seeing no one and hearing no one, do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, moving on to the second public hearing. This is regarding proposed increase in the governing body's salaries requested by Councilmember Carrera. I declare the public hearing open.
If you don't mind, before we go into public hearing, I just want to kind of summarize all of the different situations or scenarios for the public. So currently, on the upper left quadrant, you have the restoration model. This is the model that was approved as part of the fiscal year 25 budget, which restore your stipend to the normal 98 for the mayor and 92 for the council member. This is effective this fiscal year, starting July 1st. And this was already baked into the fiscal year 25 budget, as well as the remainder out years, so 25 to 34. So this is kind of where we're at right now, and it takes effect on 7/1. One of the scenario, moving to the top right, is the old state code, which has it at 12,000 for the mayor and 11.5 for the council member. This is pending the public hearing and your vote, but if this were to pass, this is going to be effective 7/1/25, so effectively the city fiscal year 26 budget. And the total cost, as you can see there, is 81,000. And unfortunately, for fiscal year 26, there's a lot of unknown. And every year, as part of staff budgeting process, we have to kind of do the exercise with all the variables, the real estate, the tax rates, expenditure, revenue, a lot of unknown. And so I cannot definitively say how we're going to fund that, except for fund balance. That's the only answer that I can give right now if you were to adopt that model. Now, between the last meeting and this meeting, there were two additional scenarios on the bottom. The left one is the new state code, Model 1. This one is the 22,000 for the mayor and 21.5 for the council. One of the requests, this is sort of a ramp-up model, if you will. One of the requests was that if you were to vote on this, it will be slowly ramped up, starting with fiscal year 27, with one caveat. It is tied to staff COLA. And essentially, let's say in fiscal year 27, if staff has a COLA, whatever that may be, then your stipend will increase by that amount, that percentage. Or if staff has no COLA, then you would not be getting a stipend increase. So that's kind of the model. Now, I know I put 151K there, but that's the total cost for that model if you were to effectively begin that starting that year. But again, it's COLA dependent. So that's the left side. The right side, same thing, 22K for mayor, 21.5K for the council members. And this is effective sort of the second half of the fiscal year 27. So essentially when the new council would take place. And the total is 151, but divided by 2 from a cost perspective. Obviously for budgeting, it's 151 for the year, but because we're starting at half year, it's about half. And to fund those two model on the bottom, again, because 26 is kind of unknown at this point, the only answer I can give you is either fund balance or reduction to contribution to reserves. And starting fiscal year 27, we do have contribution to reserves that could potentially fund this. So I want to give that summary before you guys conduct the public hearing.
Okay, thank you. At this point, I would like to recognize Councilmember Hampton, who has an alternate proposal to present.
Do we have the PDF that we can pull it up?
No.
I know I sent it a little bit late, but. So while we're pulling it up, I'll give you a rundown, and then when she pulls it up, I'll walk you through it. Over the weekend, I spoke to a number of residents to get their pulse on what they felt. In addition to that, yesterday I had a 45-minute phone call with the city manager and the budget manager to understand what our financial outlook looked like, not only fiscal 25, fiscal 26, and fiscal 27. And then last evening, I spoke to the city attorney to see if the proposal is valid. So I only have a copy of it. Let's give it a second. Or you guys can, I sent it by email earlier today if you want to pull up your phone. And so, hold on.
We can hesitate till it comes up on the
Yeah,
screen.
let's
Don't
do
worry
that.
about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of information on there. But I encourage all of us to go speak to the city manager to find out what our financial health is going to look like in the fiscal 25, 26, and 27. Thank you, Sarah. You just go to the second slide, please. Okay, so this is based off of what I knew as of last week. So we know that in the fiscal year that's going to start, we're going up to, well, actually, when this fiscal, up until this point, we've done half, 32,500, and that's been for a number of years, not only underneath our current mayor, but our former mayor, because of the economic health of the city. We decided in fiscal '25 that we would revert our pay back up to the prescribed salary, which is $65,000. Clearly, my dollars for fiscal '20, the proposed for fiscal '26 is a little off by $3,000, but roughly $148,000. And from what I understand, evidently I forgot to put a 500 in there, but that's what the state code allows, and that's the maximum. So then we'll go on to slide 3. Oh, I think you missed one. No, it's not there. Huh. All right, so anyhow, so not that you can really see it, but for the proposal for the salary increase for fiscal '26 was starting off at the $12,000 for the mayor, $11,500. And then incrementally over time, we can increase, oh, there it is, right there.
Kyle's being weird.
It's just being difficult. It's the heat. So then incrementally over time, we can increase the salary by the same COLA as the city staff to the point that we reach the maximum allowed by law. To make sure that we are not building our increase off of the residents' backs. Here are some proposed ideas, some things that would, if these happen, then we can't increase our salary, and that's any budget cuts, freezing, reducing staffing positions, increasing the real estate, increasing the personal property tax, or using reserves to balance the budget. The city attorney asked to speak at this point to kind of explain this a little bit more. So at this point, I turn it over to Dean.
Good evening. I just want to point out that the state code, you can't just do the cost of living increases on their own because we don't know what they are, and you have to have a definitive number. And that's why I had proposed to Councilmember Hampton that the vote would be the maximum amount, but you would only get to there over a very long period of time where you had the COLA each year. So it's going to take a while to get up there. But that was a good count, or a good middle ground, I think. And so I just want to point that out, that you would have to vote for whatever the top amount is going to be, and then the COLA can kick in until you get to that point.
Okay.
Thank you, Dean.
And then if you flip over to the slide that says fiscal '25. So this is what I learned yesterday, and Mr. City Manager, if I said anything incorrectly there, let me know. I did see a typo. It should be a 2.5 cent decrease in the real estate. Yeah, that's what you get. That's what I get for doing this really fast. But as we know, when we built the fiscal '25 budget, we had to make some reductions. We also had to kick some things down the road. Also that we could get the 3% COLA, so that we could also get the 2.5% decrease in the real estate tax. But at the same time, we had to freeze 5 positions. Now, granted, those positions may not have been filled already, but they are positions. My understanding is that we moved 23 capital improvement projects to future years. Keep in mind that we also have, in this year, by December 31, 2024, we have to allocate all of the money, the remaining $6 million in ARPA funds, and I believe that's already been allocated, correct? And we have to spend that by, all of that has to be spent by December 31, 2026. So that's where we stand for this year. But when you're looking at fiscal '26 and beyond, you know, we have the ARPA funds sunsetting. We also have some major grants setting. We have the SAFER grant setting, sunsetting. Then we're going to have to deal with the CIP projects, and we might have the need to increase staffing levels because we've increased our population. Now, this is just a proposal. We can cut it. We can jointly cut it. Mold it how we want. But I wanted us to understand where our financial position is right now.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Hampton. I think it's helpful to remember that the final impact, the final financial impact, when the stipend reaches its legal maximum, is still the 148 or 151,000. There's uncertainty in the economy right now. We don't know what's going to happen. As Councilmember Hampton pointed out, we have not been able to hire staff that the city needs. Most importantly and recently, we were not able to hire anyone in code enforcement. No staffers there to help us deal with the illegal renter situation. And we've not been able to provide raises to existing staffers to help retain the good people that we do have. Residents across the city are living paycheck to paycheck. Seniors live on fixed incomes. And some residents have had their cars repossessed. And that trend will probably continue into the future. We have the highest tax rate in Virginia. If we didn't have the highest tax rate in Virginia, I might be persuaded that we could do something. But I'm not persuaded that we should. And the bottom line is that residents cannot vote themselves a salary increase. That is the bottom line. So I would like to hear some comment from the governing body. Who wants to go first?
Want to start at the end?
Oh, good, go ahead.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I've been pretty vocal about this last couple of meetings. I mean, I'm not in favor of the increase or the incremental increase just because of, the FY25 budget. We increased the personal property taxes, the water, the trash. So all that can't justify an increase for our salary. Furthermore, I mean, I understand the argument that, we want to attract more people to run for the body with this increase. But to me, I think that just doesn't make sense. I mean, it's going to be politically motivated individuals will be running to be, for a financial gain rather than serving the community. So I didn't approve the budget because of the revert back to the original salary, and I still won't support it.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Javed. Comments? Councilmember Carrera?
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for the presentation. So I'm gonna give a little history about 15.2-1414.6. The last time it was amended was 1998. It went up to 11,500. Think what you're making in 1998. Minimum wage just got to $7.25. State minimum wage is now 13, and it's indexed to 15. It's going to 15, and it's going to be indexed. Every other city has raised their salary. Dumfries, with the 5,000 population, is making 18,000. Town of Vienna, Town of Herndon are all over 16,000. Now, the difference between them, they're towns. They don't have a school system. They don't have a social services. They don't have a water and sewer. They don't have the many joint boards and commissions that the cities do have. They don't deal with the roads to that level, so there's a lot more we have to do. We can't have a situation where we only have one candidate for mayor, 4 candidates for 3 seats on city council. You get the representation you get for. Let me give you an example of the boards and commissions we serve on. There's a series of them. When I first came on, I was on council government, I was on Region Forward, and I was on the public safety. We don't get reimbursed for any of those. I have to take leave from work. I have to take 4 hours. That's my time. We get no reimbursement, or I have to take the time off. It discourages people from serving. That's the issue. And initially, I'm a single parent. The first term I was in here, I had to have a sitter. I had no family around. What does that say to people who want to serve, who are single parent, who want to come? So in the town of Haymarket, one more thing for another town, they make $3,500. We've been making $4,500 for many years here. Ms. Mayor, you and I, in 2015, pushed this. It got rejected initially on the first one. I know you had tried prior years. In 2016, it got pushed, and we did it. At that time, we had $181 million in debt. We're now down under $70 million. You have to attract people to come and run. It's unfair. Unfortunately, a lot of preemption, a lot of incitement's been done over Facebook the last few days. I'm not lining my pockets. I don't get anything major. I'm not running again for city council, in order to see Javed. So in 26, we're gonna have another situation with write-ins, because in 2016, when we announced we were bringing this down, 2 council members said they're not running again. And what do we have? We had a series of write-ins. And that cost associated with having all those write-ins was expensive to the city to bear. So we should look at it. We need to attract people. They need to run. We have to have fairness. You have to have fairness. So that's why I support moving at least to what I recommended, 2 increments, at least a minimum of next year, the 11-5-12 model, which still puts us beneath all the other jurisdictions in Prince William County that's not Haymarket or Occoquan, and then moving to the January 1st of 2027 for the rest.
Are you
I'm
done?
done, thank you.
Okay. Comments? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. I agree that jumping to the full amount in 1 year is too drastic. I am in favor of incrementally raising it. As a performing artist who's constantly being asked to work for free or for a reduced rate, I can't ask anyone to work for low or no pay. This job is not a full-time job, but we put in more hours than the public will ever see. It's a solid part-time job. In addition, we are all essentially on call 24/7, 365. We don't have many people willing to do these jobs. Every election year I have seen has either drawn one candidate for 3 empty spots, as Mr. Carrera just mentioned, which resulted in a scramble for candidates or writing campaigns, or at most 4 candidates for the 3 spots. You get what you pay for. If you want solid candidates to consider for council, then you need to give them the ability and the incentive to run.
You done? Okay. Any comments?
Yeah, that's good.
Anyone? Yeah.
I mean, the question, I guess, for ones that support this, if we did not increase the personal property tax or all these taxes and fees, would we be able to fund this? The answer is no, right? We increased it so we could fund other priorities initiatives, but it was also to fund the pay raise. So we increased the taxes for this very reason. Just a thought.
Okay. I would like to make a suggestion. First, I want to say that although I'm making this recommendation, I do not intend to support it, even though it's my recommendation. I'm putting it forward simply because it would be less of a financial impact on the city than the original suggestion. I propose that we leave the reversion alone, and that will go into effect within a week. And as it stands, that reversion will double what the governing body is receiving right now. And then we postpone the vote on the second issue, the second increase. This will give time to see what the economy is going to do, because there's no wiggle room in the budget right now, and we need wiggle room in the city budget. You know, if the governing body is really determined to have another increase, then vote 4 months prior to the 2026 election to become effective, the increase to become effective July 1st, 2027. This gives a chance to see what the economy is going to do, and it gives staff a chance to be able to project what they think the economy is going to do in the future. So in essence, my suggestion is to do nothing right now. Leave the reversion in place and do not vote on anything tonight. Okay. Any comments or questions? Okay. Do you want to, you look puzzled. Do you want to comment?
I think we had a couple comments from the public.
Yeah, well, I'm making sure that the governing body has said everything it wants to say. Okay. All righty. We have 3 individuals who have signed up to make public comment in person. The first individual is Mr. Frank Jones. Mr. Jones, please come to the microphone, state your name and address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. And speak directly into the mic so the folks at home can hear you.
I doubt they'll have much trouble hearing me, but thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm Frank Jones. I live at 189 Manassas Drive. For point of reference, I sat in the chair before Mayor Rischel. I was there when we did the reduction. I've given 25 years of service to this community, so I have a full understanding. The other piece that you need to understand is I do budget for a living on the federal level with a $1.2 billion budget for what we deal with in my agency. The concern that you have over uncertainty is absolutely well-founded. When you look at the things that are going to occur between now and 2 years from now, we have an election, and goodness knows how that's going to go come November, and then we have other local elections and things that will happen 2 years out. I speak to this to say I urge you not to vote for this tonight. We have a situation where I've talked to a number of folks in our community. although you say we've not done this or not done that, I had one gentleman buttonhole my wife at Walmart and said his assessment had gone up $40,000. Now, that means that he's got a chunk more that he's going to have to pay in taxes. As you point out, Madam Mayor, we have a situation where many of our folks are on fixed income. The perception that we are doubling the take-home pay for the council and the mayor is something that's going to draw a lightning rod. You have an election coming up shortly. I urge you to be careful because that will have a negative impact, I feel. I can't support this. If we can go 2 years down pike and we can take a look at it, as Hasib brings up, that might make sense. Today, and with the uncertainty and the fiscal uncertainty of the time, is certainly not the time to be doing something that has this kind of a public perception. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, our next speaker is Ms. Stacy Sieberling. Come to the microphone, state your name and address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Stacy Sieberling. I live at 9212 Williams Street, Manassas Park. I'm okay with postponing it as well. However, I am going to read what I have, what I wrote.
Can you speak directly into the...
Yes, it's a little high.
Thanks.
So we do face a couple of competing challenges that need to be balanced. We are the city with the highest tax rate, and we face significant challenges in attracting good leadership. Recently, we had 2 open slots on our school board, but only received 2 applicants, which unfortunately is a common occurrence in Manassas Park. Many elections see a number of candidates exactly matching the number of available positions, leaving our citizens with no real choices. Okay, and little incentive to participate in our local governance. Increasing the pay for our governing body could change this dynamic. It would broaden the pool of potential candidates, making it feasible for more residents to consider these important roles. Currently, we have many capable individuals are deterred from running because of financial sacrifices involved, whether it's hiring childcare, losing income because of missed shifts, or juggling other jobs and responsibilities. Our community desires excellent leadership. You can see that all over Facebook. They want it. But we are often limited to those who can afford to serve. So is leadership limited to those that are financially secure? These concerns that our governing body doesn't deserve a raise, but the truth is at present, our leaders are often those who are financially secure enough to serve, those who are married with dual income, single with no children, retired, or have flexible living situations with no children. By increasing the pay, we could attract more financially diverse group of candidates, encouraging a broader spectrum of our population to step up and represent. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Next, we have Mr. Mike Smith. State your name and address and limit to 3 minutes.
Mike Smith, 102 Colfax. Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the governing body. It's hard to follow up so many eloquent speakers by the residents of the city and city staff. I made a lot of notes. I was trying to update them as I sat here. Thank you, Mr. City Manager, for providing the slides to help educate the residents. I would just like to ask that our elected representatives vote no on this matter tonight. I do believe that all of you work hard for the city, but right now with the city still $70 million in debt and an empty downtown, this is not the right time. I would ask that you consider delaying this topic until the downtown is built so that the cost of these raises can be paid by new business taxes rather than a burden paid solely by the residents. There's a saying that a rising tide lifts all boats. When the city does good, we all should do good. When you've built a thriving downtown, the residents want to see this positive change that we've been talking about for years. So I don't know if that would be possible, but when the downtown has been built, reconsider this topic at that point, and then see if you've deserved the raise. So my request would be to table this discussion until the time of economic uncertainty that everyone has mentioned has passed, and we know as a city what direction we're heading. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, is there anyone else who is not signed up but who would like to make public comment? Okay. Did I see a hand go up over here?
Oh, no.
Okay. Okay, we did have some emails come in. These emails will be written into the formal written record in their entirety. We have an email from Brian Polk, who is former Vice Mayor of Manassas Park. And Brian suggested a step increase rather than full throttle. Mr. Thomas Harrison is opposed, Ms. Vonnie Privet is opposed, and Mr. Rich Kessler is opposed. So since there are no further comments, do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, so moving on to 8A. There is no consent, no unfinished business, so this would be new business. Correction of fiscal year 25 tax and fee rates. Are there any final comments from the governing body? Okay. Staff recommended motion is that the governing body approve a water and sewer application fee in the amount of $79.78 effective in FY 2026 as presented.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, now we are back to the resolution to increase governing body salaries.
Mayor, this is Dean. If I could just speak real quick. I have ordinances that I prepared for each one of those different scenarios. I can put them up and you can all look at them if
Yes.
you'd like.
Yes, please
I can
do.
just share this. Yeah, if I could go ahead and share, I'll do that. Okay, you should see 3 different ordinances there.
Not yet.
The one on the left is the
don't
original one.
see
that
it.
had
It's not
the-
showing, Dean. Wait a second.
One
Oh, you're
second.
not?
It's not up yet. Wait.
Give us a moment.
Read that.
I can make them bigger.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Like, much bigger.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, I don't know what you're seeing there. So this is the first one. All right, so this is the first one. I'll just get past the recitals. This says that you would increase to $22,000 and $21,000 for each council member, effective July 1st, 2025. We could swap those numbers out for $12,000, $11,500 for the other scenario that the city manager presented. That was the first one. Let's do this one here. All right, this one here has the, this is Councilmember Hampton's. This one here has the effective salary at $12,000 for the mayor, $11,500, effective July 1st, 2025, and then effective July 1st, 2026, we would increase it to the $22,000 and $21,000, but it would increase only by the same cost of living allowance percentage provided by city employees, and it's also subject to the other conditions that she listed up there that haven't really been discussed. But if you look here, it says if the total, well, first off, it says if reserves are used to balance the budget, you can't get your raise, or if any of these other items occur. So the total budget is cut, staff positions are frozen, or reduction of force is put into place, or either the real estate tax rate or the personal property tax rate has been increased. And then finally, we have the other, the other option here is the one that was presented by Councilmember Carrera originally, and that is to increase to $12,000, $11,500 for the mayor, and that would be effective July 1st, 2025. And then starting January 1st, 2027, it would go to $22,000 and $21,000 respectively for the mayor and council member. So if any of those options are available, these would be the ordinances, or one of these would be the ordinance you would approve, and it would be by ordinance. I can amend any one of these that you like if you want something changed. So I can put any one of them up if you want to look at it further.
Any questions for Dean? Questions for Dean? No? Okay. Let's try to get a consensus which one we want to vote on. There's the one in the packet, there's Councilmember Carrera's, and then there's Councilmember Hampton. So let's try to get a consensus, so.
Can I just clarify, the one in the
Yes.
packet is like full throttle, and then there's Councilmember Carrera's amended to what he originally said, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's the one I'm hoping. That's the
Can you
next.
explain that a little bit closer?
So effective next year, July 1st of 2026, it'll go up to 11/5/12 for council, 12 for mayor. And January 1st of 2027, as the new council comes in, the new salary will be effective for the new council, and whoever's on council, January 1st, 2027.
Can you speak?
Oh,
I
I'm
doubt the
sorry.
folks at home could have heard that. Can
So
you say that?
what this would do, this amended one, it's 2 increments. The first one would effectively match the current code as it is right now, effective July 1st, 2026, for 11/5 for council, 12,000 for mayor. And then the second increment is on January 1st, 2027, for all council, and the new council coming in from elections of 26, the 21,000, 22,000 for council and for mayor.
6 months apart.
Okay. Do
basically.
you have, do
No,
you
it's
That was just clear.
follow
That
up?
helped.
like a year and a half
Okay.
apart.
Thank you,
Or-
Councilmember Carrera.
Okay. Also, I,
I'm sorry, January 1st, 2025.
Okay.
July 1st, 2025, sorry.
okay. And I doubt anyone's going to go for this, but there's my recommendation to leave the reversal alone and do nothing this evening, but I don't think you folks are going to go for that. So anyway, what is your preference, Councilmember Javed?
Oh, I'm a no, either way.
I'm sorry,
I'm a no,
you're a no.
yeah,
Which one do you want to vote no on?
all 3 of them.
Okay. Okay. That's
Until
clear.
we reduce the taxes and
Yeah.
be in a better position we are in right now.
I
where we
appreciate
consider
that.
it.
I am
Right.
likewise a no on all 3,
Yes.
so. Councilmember
I'm
Moore.
going to support Councilmember Carrera's amended one that he
Okay.
just spoke to.
Mr. Carrera's amended one, okay. And Vice Mayor Mensing?
Yep, Carrera revised or Carrera
His
amended.
amended one,
Carrera amended.
Carrera amended.
And obviously.
Of course he wants, yeah.
Yes.
And Councilmember Hampton,
I don't support any of them, even my own.
yeah.
I really wish that we
Yeah.
had spoken to the city manager ahead of time
Uh-huh.
and to find out about the financial health of the city.
Yeah.
I just want to be clear, I did speak to the city manager, I monitor the budget, I monitor every year, I'm a line-by-line person, so I have done that. So I just want to make that clear.
I don't think anyone is taking, I shouldn't say that. I would like to see everyone take the financial condition of the city a little bit more serious. Yeah.
I do.
That's just a personal thought, yeah. Okay. Yes?
Yeah, I have some concern, because if our city manager is sitting to my right and has a major concern about this, then he needs to speak up now or forever hold his peace. Don't tell me he's concerned, but I haven't heard that. So, Mr. Manager, what is your concern?
I mean, no, it's hard to say for 27 and beyond because I can't predict 2 years from now, right? Like, it's very hard. Revenues may go down or up depending on the new restaurants. Cost is always going to go up. That's unfortunate. We know that we know that water purchase, this year we've got hit twice with true up for UOSA. So cost is always going to go up. Obviously, salary is not going to be stagnant. At some point, it's going to go up. We have, the obligation to try to reduce tax rate every year. And so, I mean, right now, the only way we're going to be able to fund this, given the revenue that I can project right now, is through fund balance.
Okay. So we're back to the reality of the uncertainty in the economy and the uncertainty of what revenue is going to be and what our expenditures are going to be.
But,
Okay.
City Manager,
Thank
since
you.
I was following up.
Go ahead.
You're not saying not do this tonight, are you?
I can't, this is your stipend, so I cannot force you to vote no on your stipend. Obviously, that's kind of a conflict on my part. But right now, I cannot afford the full-blown, whatever you want to call it, the 22K model. That's going to be a lot of burden on the budget.
Mr. go ahead.
Councilmember Moore,
Yeah,
he has to be agnostic. He's the city manager.
Well, I
He
understand.
cannot tell us how to vote.
but then we can't speak on his behalf on this dais. We cannot speak for him on his behalf on this dais.
We cannot, but.
Okay, well, that's all I'm saying. I want him to clarify, because his name was
Okay.
invoked
I thought
on
maybe
several
you were-
arguments.
I thought maybe you were
Our
implying that he could give us advice.
No,
as
I
to how to.
understand that.
Okay. Okay,
And
thank
may
you.
I
But we can't evoke him on this dais
Yeah.
if we've not heard from him.
So for a lot of topics, I have absolutely no qualms about providing my recommendation. It's just this one affects you personally, and so it's hard for me to kind of recommend no, right? Because it's your stipend, so it's a little bit difficult. I would just say that the full 22 is difficult to fund, but I can't recommend no because it's your stipend. But I'm kind of.
Mr. Manager, can I ask a question? So we still have some development that's supposed to be completed right here that's going to bring additional revenue. We also have an apartment complex going diagonal that's supposed to bring probably another $1 billion in revenue. We have 2 other additional developments probably down the line that will probably bring some revenue over the next couple of years, correct?
Yeah, so the 2 development, I think, down the line, right now, we don't have signed agreements, so I don't like to bank on those. But you're right, once we get the restaurants in, then the meals tax should, in theory, go up. Now, we waited for these restaurants for several years now, and I can project that they're gonna come in. It's just the timing of it, I don't know, right? We waited for La Finca for, I think, 2 years now, and so.
But I was referencing the additional 2/2s in the apartments coming across the street.
Yeah, so the Stanley Martin, you're right, that is already baked into the budget. The initial 10-year model has those baked in by phase. So they're already baked into the budget, that the fiscal year 25 to 34 model.
And also, the budget, the reserves we're sitting on is 19 million right now. And about 5 years ago, can you tell me the number generally what that was?
Ooh, I don't remember top of mind what 19 million is. Now, I will say, generally speaking, 19 million sounds like a lot, but our operating budget is 109, just the operating. So you're looking at about 20% saving there. That's not a lot for an emergency fund. Just like a financial advisor would tell you personally, you want to save 3 months of your expenditure at home. 100 million, 3 months is about, 100 divided by 12 is about 8 times 3 is 24. So we're $4 million short of 3 months expenditure. So it sounds like a lot, but if we have additional economic activity, then that changes the calculus. We may be able to do some of this, but I don't know when those revenue are going to come in. I just can't predict those.
Right, and just one more
Well,
comment on that.
Let me make
Go
a
ahead.
point there. Despite the fact that incoming revenue might change, the city has a lot of deferred needs. How many projects were deferred in?
23.
Yeah.
Just one more comment, Mr. Mayor. I'm sorry, Mr. Manager. I know in the past you're saying right there that people should be on 3 months, but most people aren't on 3 months, and we're sitting on people's cash. And I'm not saying you shouldn't sit on some reserves, but the municipalities have the authority to borrow in emergency cases if they need. They have the ability to work through VML and get emergency financing, correct?
We do.
But I just want to make the point that people here aren't sitting on three months of savings.
Yeah,
We're sitting on their
20
cash here.
million, we are, that's correct, that's a fact. We are sitting on 20 million in reserve. We also have a lot of deferred CIP, a lot of facilities that are becoming due about 20, 30-year mark here pretty soon. So I don't think 20 million is going to go as far as we think. And, God forbid, we have like a COVID collapse or something,
Right.
like we did mostly. But to your point, we are sitting on 20 million. I think again, I can't, recommend a course of action for you guys because it's your stipend, but I would say that the 22K is very difficult to fund. But, we do the budget exercise every year. Next year I come back and know the restaurants are open. That's a different story.
The reason that we have the 19 to 20 million in reserves is because there are industry standards that have been proven to work. If we had hard times, if what happened in 2008 happens again, 2007, 2008, if that happens again, we're going to need every dollar of that 20 million.
I hear you.
No?
I
Huh?
hear you. I hear you.
Okay.
So you're looking at me.
Okay.
Also, another comment on
Mayor, can I?
Yes, go ahead, Dean.
I just want to point out, I'm not taking sides or anything, but I want to make sure you have the full information. Look at the last paragraph here. This is what the previous governing body used when they decided to go ahead and contribute half of their salary towards the general fund. What you're doing is you're setting a cap. There's nothing to require you every budget to give yourself that full amount. So, I'm not encouraging one way or another, but I want to make sure that it's very clear that you don't have to take the full amount every year. You can do exactly what was done before. I know it might be hard, but if there's a fiscal problem, you guys could then decide whether or not you wanted to keep your salary or contribute some of it back.
Well, I would respond to that, Dean, by saying that once the full amount is available, it's going to be very difficult to convince people to give it up.
You and I
And I'm
did.
not to tell you that's not the case. I'm just telling you that's in the
Right,
words.
right. I just wanted to express that opinion. Okay?
Do you want me to make the motion?
I got a comment
Anyone?
too. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, city manager, but we're running into a deficit the next 2-3 years. This FY25 budget is in a deficit.
There is no deficit. You have to balance the budget in Virginia.
Well, yeah, it's gonna be balanced either way, but fund balance this and,
We're balanced, we just couldn't do everything we needed to do.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. We're balanced for 10 years. It's really what you're looking at is whether you defer CIP, you froze position, or you don't contribute to the reserves, and we are doing all three of those. So,
And then
Okay.
the fact about the residential development that's coming on board, yes, it'll, provide more income, but each of those developments, or the income's already earmarked for a certain project.
It is.
So you're not having the full potential of that income 30 years or maybe 35, 40 years down the road.
And we're not counting on inflation.
Right.
Look at the inflation that we've had so far, specifically in building materials. If we have to go back and retrofit
Exactly,
any of the
right.
old buildings,
So yeah, we have development coming on, but each project is
Yeah,
focusing on.
it's
You know-
spoken for.
Yes.
I wish the federal government workers, because we have 35 trillion in debt.
Can you-
Imagine if the federal workers didn't take a salary because we're 35 trillion in debt every year until we paid that debt off. Maybe that should happen. Or if we never took a salary because things could occur, or you can never have any increase again, anywhere, in your home, in your personal life, at work.
No, I mean, I hear you, I hear your argument, but it's just not, if we're increasing taxes and fees for our residents, it's just not the time right now. And it's just like Madam Mayor saying, if
Could we
we're,
call the question and get a motion on the floor, please?
I
Yes.
thought there was a motion for a table.
There's no motion at all on
No.
the floor.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear
Could
what
we,
you
could we
said.
call the question and get a motion on the floor,
Yes,
please?
yeah, just a minute.
Thank
Okay,
you.
has everyone expressed themselves?
Well, I'd like to make a
Are
motion.
there any
then.
further comments?
I thought Michael
No,
was making.
I'd like to make the motion, move to adopt the amendment as presented by me.
Well, I have a
Oh,
motion
sorry.
from Dean.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
I didn't,
okay.
I thought you were going to.
And Dean, am I correct in assuming if I read the Carrera motion, it will be accurate?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
But Madam Mayor, before we go up to that
Yes,
motion.
go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion
No,
to
you
table
have the
this.
first motion first.
No, I mean, before we take a vote.
I haven't
okay.
made the motion yet, so.
I know.
Right, so I'm making a motion to table this for a later discussion.
Okay, I second that.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
No.
Opposed?
No.
Abstain? Okay, let's do a hands up because that was a little too close to call. Okay, all in favor of tabling? Raise your right hand or whatever. Okay, no. Opposed? Okay, that's 4-3. Did you get that, Lena? Yeah, okay. Okay, so with that taken care of, let's go to the Carrera motion. Okay, that the recommended motion is that the governing body approve an ordinance to increase the annual salaries of its membership as follows. Effective on July 1st, 2025, an increase of the annual salaries of the mayor and each city council member to $12,000 and $11,500 respectively, and effective on January 1st, 2027, an increase of the annual salaries of the mayor and each city council member to $22,000 and $21,000 respectively as presented.
So
All those in
moved.
favor,
Oh, did you-
raise your hand.
I think-
Wait, the
We need a
motion
You need the
is
motion,
made.
so moved.
Motion.
Oh, I
So-
thought we had a second. Okay.
So moved. So moved.
So moved. Did we get a second?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Okay,
you just did.
okay. All those in favor, raise your hand. Okay. Got that, Lena? All those opposed, raise your hand.
Opposed.
Okay, did you get that, Lena? Okay, thank you. Okay, well, we have dispensed with that. We are now at our second public comment time. Is there anyone who would like to make public comment during our second public comment time? Seeing no one and...
Madam Mayor?
Oh, yes, ma'am,
Yeah.
sorry.
So I want to thank the residents, the fire department, and the city manager for coming out last Wednesday. to help us clean up the streams. Everybody saw the pictures. We caught everything from fishing out a bike. Mike, I think, put his life in peril and went down there. Thank goodness the fire department was there to help him back up, because all I could do is take pictures. And Yessie and her husband found a very creepy mask, extremely creepy mask. But how much trash did we pick up?
About 180 pounds, I think.
Yeah. And so I want to thank everybody that came out and helped.
Okay, thank you.
And we'll have more come in the fall.
Okay. City manager, do you have a report?
Just a couple of quick comments. One, we're looking forward to celebrating our veterans this week, and we have quite a robust crowd, so I'm looking forward to that. If any veterans wants to join us, please let us know. And then for those that may already know on social media, but the steakhouse has signed the lease, everything's ready to go, and I believe that they have about 9 months to build out, but that's the
Okay.
permitting process.
Yeah, that was really good news.
That's
Thank you.
exciting.
Thank you.
Okay, we have no closed session. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for coming this evening.
Nice.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.